Hello, my name is Pranarvish Mitta. I'll be conducting this interview today, and I'm a second poom in Taekwondo. I compete nationally, and I'm the founder of a nonprofit organization known as Kids Style that helps provide in person and virtual seminars to kids and adolescents to help their physical and mental health by focusing on fun martial art activities while also integrating stretching and meditation. Today, I'm here with Coach Tom Childress, the head coach of Liberty University's Taekwondo team. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your day to be here with us.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. So, I just wanted to get into some of the questions. Prior to coaching Liberty University, I've been able to find that you've practiced martial arts for a long time, starting all the way back in 1984. Could you give us a brief description about the martial arts that you pursued in the past?
Sure. My journey is a very long one. I've wanted to do martial arts my whole life, but when I was younger, my mom and dad had me playing more traditional sports. I did baseball, football, ended up sticking with football for a little while and wrestling. But about 13, my dad finally relented and said, all right, if we can find a place that you want to go, that's fine. I grew up on the old school Kung Fu, the TV series with David Carradine. That was actually, I found out later, of course, it was supposed to actually star Bruce Lee. But so I was always a fan of that. But around here, there wasn't really a lot of that, at least I didn't, not that I knew of. So I started my journey studying American freestyle karate.
Oh, wow.
I did that for a few months. Just, it wasn't clicking. I didn't love it. And then I did Shotokan Ryu under Master Bob Williams. Again, I liked it, but it wasn't love. It wasn't part of me. And then found out about Kung Fu classes they were having at the local Y. The instructor there was Sifu Calvin Buck. I walked in, and I still remember to this day the first time I saw him break into a mantis stance, and the way his eyes bulged, and I could see a praying mantis standing in front of me, even though it was a 6'3" tall man.
Wow.
I immediately fell completely and totally in love, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. And I started studying Wushu style Kung Fu at the local Y under Sifu Calvin Buck. His wife was also a teacher, Marion Buck. And then they also had another instructor, was a friend of theirs that they had gone to college with, which is where they had started studying, Melvin Hill, who's actually the Commonwealth Attorney in Roanoke, or was the Commonwealth Attorney in Roanoke, which is a neighboring town of ours. So that was my first real love of martial arts, was Kung Fu, Wushu style, and I absolutely loved it and studied it until I also earned the title of Sifu myself. Studied another style of Kung Fu called Khalifa style Kung Fu under Master Floyd Mims, and I actually met him through Calvin Buck. Calvin actually studied as well, earned my black sash in that as well. And then I didn't start my journey into Taekwondo until a friend of mine who kind of, like I grew up doing Kung Fu, he had grown up doing Taekwondo, became the head coach at Liberty, the first ever hired head coach. And after a few months of coaching on his own, he said, I really need an assistant. I'm a bigger guy, he said, and he was a much smaller guy. He said, I need somebody who can get in the ring with my heavyweights and kind of give them a run for the money. And he's basically, hey, they're killing me. And growing up doing martial arts, he knew we had talked before. We both served on the police department together.
Wow.
And I said, oh, absolutely, I'll give it a shot. And right away, again, fell in love, like, oh, I love this. I love the idea of teaching young people again. I love being in the ring again. And I said, hey, look, I'll be your assistant, but you got to start teaching me Taekwondo, because the only thing I know is the word Taekwondo.
Right.
And then 3 years later, I finally earned my black belt. And now, several years after that, I'm up to third Dan. Different instructor now, Grandmaster Fujimura. So I've just really committed to it and been enjoying my journey with it.
Wow, that's really amazing. As you previously stated, I believe it was in 2012 that you became an assistant coach and then became their head coach in 2015. What made Liberty University's Taekwondo team such an unbelievable experience for you that made you want to coach them for such a long time?
Well, I wish I really could put it into words. Being around for a while, I have a lot of different titles. So I've also been a police officer for the last 31 years of my life.
Hmm.
I also get to teach at the Criminal Justice Academy here locally, where I teach police officers and young jail officers when they're going through their basic schools.
Hmm.
Teach defensive tactics.
Oh, wow.
Big surprise, right? Um, so I always call it the aha moment. The aha moment.
Hmm.
I love when you're getting to teach someone and you see the light bulb go off, literally,
Hmm.
and not necessarily above their head, but in their eyes when they grasp what you're teaching them. And Taekwondo or any other martial arts or any of the things I really get to teach, there's always a moment where all of a sudden all these things that this guy standing in front of you is making you do starts making sense.
Hmm.
So I just really love that. It's very easy to become addicted to it, and I've loved working with the young people. The young people I get to work with, it's just been an amazing journey. I think I really just get so much gratification of seeing their growth when they're with us. We've had people stay on the team for as long as 6 years.
Wow.
They come in as a freshman and they'll stay through grad school.
Hmm.
A couple of them just basically said, so I could stay on the team a little longer, came back to grad school. And you think that's just an amazing thing to see that and to get to see their growth. And of course, a lot of them do keep in touch and I get to see where they're going with life. So it's just been a really, really interesting journey.
That's really cool. It's really amazing to see the dedication to your art and the craft that you've had for such a long time. And I want to talk further about some of these Taekwondo students that you've had. Certainly, Liberty
Okay.
University is a university that has that focuses on academic rigor as well. So, how do you balance the demands of the academics and as well training for some of your team members?
Well, and that's always the hard part of collegiate sports.
Hmm.
And of course, we fall under the club sports guidelines. Liberty is, for all the colleges we've gotten to go and see around this country, they have a really amazing program. We have an entire club sports department.
Hmm.
They have a mentorship program. They have mentors. They have the advantage, like most student athletes, where they can get tutoring for no additional cost. And of course, depending on what their GPA is doing, sometimes it's mandatory.
Hmm.
We require all incoming freshmen or any transfer students have study hall hours they have to complete.
Hmm.
And the guidelines the school sets, I actually set a little stricter guidelines because, as far as I'm concerned, you're as much as I want you to come and do Taekwondo and do really well with it,
Hmm.
you're there to get an education.
Hmm.
Very few people, their career path will be a professional Taekwondo artist of any
Hmm.
type. They're going to be doing something else for profession. So we really focus on the academics come first, school comes first. Taekwondo and competition you have to learn places, just like in every adult out here, you have to learn balance.
Hmm.
So it's a good practice for them to start learning how to prioritize their responsibilities.
Certainly, that's really important for college students, high school students, and even graduate students. So I think
Absolutely.
that's an amazing thing to hear. And in fact, I feel like sometimes it may be increasingly difficult to try and continue balancing these academics and taekwondo, which may sometimes present setbacks. So to get through these setbacks, how do you motivate some of your team members?
Well, we're just very honest. We have freaking honest conversations all the time. One of the things about being a coach is any grade they get that's below a threshold, I automatically get an email.
Hmm.
So they always know. I don't want to say dread, but when coach walks in and says, so and so, I need to talk with you. They always are wondering, oh, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And a lot of times, before I can even get the words out, they'll go, I know I didn't do real well on that history test. I could just tell I wasn't ready for it. And we'll talk. Okay, well, why were you not ready? Was it a surprise? Did you not know this was coming? Was this not part of the program?
Hmm.
And they go, no. Okay, well then explain it to me.
Hmm.
So we try to give them every opportunity to grow and understand it's up to them to set the guidelines for how they need to divide their time
Hmm.
and try to maintain other responsibilities. But there are times we've actually had to sit down and say, hey, grades have to come first. Your grades aren't where they need to be. We're going to take a little separation from Taekwondo, and I don't want you coming to practice for the next week or 2 weeks.
Hmm.
We'll see where your grades are, and then we'll try to start incorporating you back into practice and see if we can do a better balancing act.
Hmm.
Because when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, school has to come first.
Right. That's super neat to see students being able to like learn and improve from some of their setbacks as well. So I think that's really amazing. So as your students work hard to enjoy their sport, you also work hard as a coach to help coach these students for the sport that they enjoy. What do you consider is the most significant challenge you face as a coach, and how do you overcome it?
Time. So
Mm.
obviously, it's not my being a coach isn't my primary job. As I said, I work as a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
My job actually has a lot of overtime as well. There's many weeks I'll work as many as 70 hours
Wow.
just at my job.
Wow.
And then I still have to make time for, well, I say lesson planning. I usually do that pretty much a year in advance.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting ready to start a new semester here in another few weeks, actually. It's coming down pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
And I've already lesson planned for most of the entire next year as far as the pace of how we set things, as far as getting people conditioned up for competition times. And it's a constant struggle. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I have to balance that fact that I have another job that I'm responsible for, coaching. I'm also a husband, a father.
Right.
So that is probably the biggest part, and the second part is continuing to grow and learn myself.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I've been the coach for a while doesn't mean I know everything, or I constantly want to improve and be better for them. I want to be the best coach that I can be to make them reach their limits. I've got to continually push mine.
Mm. Wow, that's really cool to see how you're able to overcome some of these challenges that you face as a coach. Um, as you're coaching, were there any unique traditions or rituals you guys happen to have before any team practices or any competitions?
Uh, it kind of changes because the team changes so much every year because of the team makeup.
Mm-hmm.
So each year we try to let the team captains and the other leadership, the people that have been on the team for a couple of years, they kind of set the team. So we've had different things here and there. We had somebody that actually made up a team chant at one time, and we did
Wow.
that for a couple of years. But then
Mm-hmm.
as that group kind of graduated and moved on, that one kind of fell by the wayside. But one of the things we try to do every year, so we always have what we call a team bonding night, uh, usually pretty early every semester, and it kind of gives us a chance to get together, people that have been on the team for the last few years, as well as the new people. I have a friend who's got a really nice farmhouse down in the country. We get together, we do some things that are not Taekwondo related.
Mm-hmm.
We play games. We have some range things that we do.
Mm-hmm.
We cook out on a grill, and then we have a special surprise for the ones that have never been on the team.
Mm-hmm.
Each person has to get up and they either have to sing, lip sync, play an instrument,
Uh-huh.
whatever they're good, quote, poetry, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And to set it off every year. So the ones that have been there for a while are always kind of looking forward to what coach is going to do. I always say, hey, look, I will never ask you to do anything I'm not going to do. And I get up and really make a fool of myself first because I have no singing ability whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So usually it's lip syncing a song, and it's going to be something that's probably pretty prevalent out there on the charts right now, even if it completely does not fit my personality. But it shows them a couple things. One, you just got to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
And two, you can't be afraid to laugh at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we've done every year since I've been the head coach, starting back in 2015.
Oh wow, that's really cool to see the lessons that you're able to implement, even in these fun rituals and some of these fun games as well. So I think that's really cool. As a coach, do you happen to stay up to date with some of the latest developments or techniques in training Taekwondo, or instead do you strive to use some of the most effective methods that you're already a little bit more used to?
Well, it's about that's like everything else. It's kind of a balancing act.
Mm-hmm.
So we have certain things that we do feel works fairly well for a lot of our aspects, as far as conditioning, as far as peaking time, as far as how we teach certain things. But I'm also always looking for, as a matter of fact, I wish I could remember his name. There's somebody I just started following on Instagram that has great little tutorials. Now he's geared towards younger children,
Mm-hmm.
but I have just been absolutely blown away with the techniques that he's showing and how he's showing it. I'm like, I actually could use that with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always willing to learn. I try to follow anybody big, Tim Thackeray,
Mm-hmm.
anybody I can think of is actually out there putting content, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. I'll follow them and watch and listen. And I can't tell you things I've been able to pick up from other people and incorporate it into our training.
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly not mine, not my idea at all, but I absolutely love being able to incorporate something new and interesting.
Definitely, that's really cool. Seeing you use some of the old effective methods and being able to improvise them as well by using some of the newer methods that are coming out on Instagram and YouTube. So super cool to see
Absolutely.
that. Mm-hmm. And tying back to some of your old methods of training as well, what are some of your key mental strategies that you tend to teach your athletes to try and stay focused and perform under pressure?
So, like everything else, we're going to talk through things before we ever get there. I can't tell you the number of people say, "Hey, I would love to be on the team, but I just don't want to compete."
Mm-hmm.
Well, we are a competition team for Liberty University. That's what they're paying money for. It's what they expect us to put out there. But we're also, of course, trying to be a school as well, where you can come and begin as a student, a white belt, and have absolutely no previous experience, and potentially, depending on your ability to work hard, and you could graduate earning your first dime potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's about 4 years worth of an investment, and it just depends on the individual. So those are always balancing acts. Um, my big thing for everybody is you've got to love it. And I can't help but to harness back to my origins with my Kung Fu, just seeing it and falling in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
We want you to have fun with it. So Taekwondo time should be a time to come and unwind,
Mm-hmm.
to have fun. Yes, you're going to work hard. Yes, you're going to sweat. Yes, you're going to leave there some nights frustrated. But overall, the experience between coming in and just being able to vent, let some energy out, as well as being around your teammates, which we try to develop a culture of team above all else.
Mm-hmm.
I remember many years ago, I had an athlete came in that was already, I would say, a star on her own. She had already been on Junior Team USA, Team USA,
Mm-hmm.
an incredible athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And I always ask every year, is Taekwondo an individual sport or is it a team sport? She answered earlier, it's an individual sport. I said, well, why is that? She says, I'm the only person in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
But how did you get there? Did you spar yourself? No. Teammates.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Did you have a coach? It's an
Mm-hmm.
entire community that puts a finished athlete into a ring.
Mm-hmm.
And that entire community is not just going to develop you physically, but they're also going to have a part on your mental preparedness.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you're going out there with the mindset of, I'm going to go out there and have fun, no matter the results, because you can't always determine what the results are going to be. You can't control the results.
Mm-hmm.
You can't control the judging. You can't control the equipment that you're using, right? Everybody's ever used Dado knows we all have all kinds of problems with Dado. You can't control any of that.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can control is how you feel about it when you're out there. And as long as you go out there, do your very best, and have fun with it, then you're going to have a really good experience.
Right. That's really neat to see that these techniques that you tend to try to show them that it's not just a single person thing, it's also a team thing, but at the same time, always remembering to stay calm. It's really interesting to me and really neat to see. So, after coaching this team for such a long time, what do you believe is one of your most memorable story or achievement from your coaching career?
I have a lot of stories.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like every time we travel somewhere, we get a new story.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, at the end of the day, it's always going to be about the young people. Just getting to know them, getting to see them. Like most people out there, it's very easy to become discouraged if you, I say, watch the news. I know that's what I say. If you're looking on your phone and scrolling through the news, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
it's very easy to become discouraged in everything that we see out there.
Mm-hmm.
The exact opposite of that happens because of my ability to be around these young people and see the type of people that they already are or they are becoming, and what they're going to leave college and go out into the world, and their different types of employment. You know, we have people that have been on the team that are going to be doctors. As a matter of fact, I have one that's in his residency right now that I met him as a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
So he did undergrad, of course, in sciences and went on to med school, and now is already. It's also kind of scary to know I've been coaching that long, but I've had people come through the program that are attorneys right now.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
You know, architects, people in the military. I remember doing helping someone get into OCS school with a recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
I get to see people going into all different walks of life and seeing what quality of people they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it just makes me feel a little better about the world we live in and where we might actually get to end up one day.
Right. Wow, that's super cool to hear, and I thought that was super interesting, seeing people from all walks of life as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So this may tie back to some of the pleasant memories from the previous question as well. But how do you tend to handle team dynamics and then foster a sense of camaraderie between your athletes?
That's something we start on. I mean, it literally starts day one. I'm not a really big recruiter, for instance. We don't go out there and really recruit for the team. The club sports put some things out for us as far as on social media, as far as our open tryout policy, when that's going to be, things like that. Uh, when people come into the meetings, although I may be there, I'm not going to be the one that's doing most of the talking. I will introduce myself, tell them a little bit about the rules, the requirements, all the things that we have set forth. And I tell them, hey, by the way, here's the returners, and I'll introduce our team captains. And we have, because we're Liberty University, we're a Christian evangelical university. We have a spiritual leadership team. I'll introduce those people and say, if you want to know anything about our team, go talk to them. Mm-hmm. Because the people are the team, the people make up the team, and the people make the dynamics of the team. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of the guy that makes sure the rules get followed. And of course, I'm there to coach them in Taekwondo. But and I think the young people on the team have always done such a wonderful job of making sure our team is inclusive. We welcome everybody. They're just always so opening and so supportive of one another. You know, like anybody else, we've had life happen. We've had young people that have come onto our team and lost a parent while they're at school. Mm-hmm. And it's absolutely devastating. But I've seen these teams rally around these people in these times of just very hard time in life. And it's just amazing to see the growth. I love when alumni reach out and will say some of the best memories of their college career was the team. Mm-hmm. I've been to weddings now where not only team members that have married other team members, but where every member of the bridal party were people that were on the team. Mm-hmm. And from different years, of course, because they overlap and stagger. And that was one of the coolest things I've ever got to do is go to this wedding and see two of my former teammates that are married, and all the groomsmen and all the bridesmaids are all former team members. Mm-hmm. That's a really big sense of community.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Seems Liberty University definitely fosters a sense of camaraderie and really fosters a sense of team effort in all of its policies as well. So really cool to see that.
Absolutely.
So for all the Taekwondo practitioners who hope to attend Liberty University from high school, what qualities do you try and look for to see if they'd fit well with your team and if they'd be a great addition?
Well, so I only have really two big requirements. And that is very simple. If you can inhale and exhale, that means your lungs are functioning. Mm-hmm. And if you can reach down to your wrist and feel the pulse, or up to your carotid artery and feel the pulse, mm-hmm. that means you have a heartbeat. And if you can breathe and you have a heartbeat, and the only other third component is you have desire. Mm-hmm. If you have those three things, you can come to Liberty University and study Taekwondo, because that's all it takes.
Right. That's super cool. Another question to address some of the questions for the high schoolers who plan to go to university and want to participate in Taekwondo teams and competition teams. What is one specific piece of advice you'd try and give these students?
Be prepared to work. Mm-hmm. So we talk about fun, of course, and we want it to be fun. Mm-hmm. But we also, like everything else, there has to be a balance. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of work. We talked earlier. It's a hard balance between being a student athlete and being a student, because you're not just a student at the university. You're not just a student athlete at the university. You're also someone's child. You're going to have relationships among the team. You're going to have relationships outside of the team. And that's all very important to have a well-rounded person, because you need to have interest outside of Taekwondo as well. Mm-hmm. But being able to find that balance and understand, though, that when it comes to Taekwondo, you are going to put in the effort. If you're not prepared to work, if you're not prepared to put in the effort that it requires, we have to tell people sometimes, hey, you might have to evaluate. Maybe this isn't really what you want. You know, it's great that you enjoy being around the people, but you also have to be willing to come here and do the work too. And that's the hard part, because it's a lot of work. Martial arts of every type I've ever studied, Taekwondo obviously is no exception, requires a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication to your art. Mm-hmm. Without that, you will never be truly successful at it.
Right, definitely. That's certainly hard work and determination are truly important. So,
Absolutely.
one final question: what are your goals for the future of your college taekwondo team, and how do you plan on continuing its success in its coming years?
Well, as far as long as I'm with the team, I can plan to continue to evolve myself. I think I've grown a lot as a coach over the years. Certainly, I always think back to those first years as a coach and go, man, I wonder if I did those kids an injustice because I knew so little and I've learned so much.
Mm-hmm.
I continue to keep growing, keep learning, keep trying to be better at what I do in every way. Always evaluating, always saying, is there a better way to do this?
Mm-hmm.
The other part, my ultimate goal is to eventually retire from the team
Mm-hmm.
and have someone that hopefully I would love it to be someone that's been through the program maybe years ago that's come back and maybe working in the community that wants to come and take the team over. That would be for me the most wonderful way to say goodbye to it.
Right.
So that would be an ultimate goal for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Coach Tom Childress, for sharing your insights and experience with us today. Your dedication and passion for martial arts and taekwondo as well are truly inspiring, and it's inspired me as well. So I'm really thankful for that. We wish you and Liberty University Taekwondo's team continued success in the future, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I really do appreciate it. You have a great day.